Hi there, it's Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today, and I'm looking at something completely different today. I thought I would have a look at stuff in the annual catalogue, because we keep forgetting about it. It's a lovely catalogue. We launched it in June and it lasts for a whole year. But because we then have the autumn, winter and the spring, summer catalogues, I think we sometimes forget all the lovely goodies that are in here. So I've got two items to share with you. I'm using one more than the other, so I'm using not the Sea of Textures as such, but I'm using the Under the Sea dies, this one specifically, and then I'm teaming that with the stamp set Seaside Notions. This is really pretty, great for summer, but you know, I think sometimes we need a bit of sunshine in the middle of the winter, and it's kind of a miserable day here in South Oxfordshire. So I thought I would embrace some sunshine. Now, there is a lot of heat embossing, and there's a technique and fussy cutting, and I'm not going to put you through all of that. I have done a bit of a Blue Peter, but actually I won't start with that. I'll start with something else because I need it to dry. So I've got some completely different sized mats from usual, but as ever, the measurements will be on my website, which is linked below. Do remember that not only are the measurements on my website, but I've got a list of products, close-up photos, a bit more information. So that's all good. And if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe if you don't already. And that's just about there. So, as I say, measurements will be over on my website. I'm going to grab a, grab a scrap, and I really do mean scrap piece of paper. I've got my aqua painter. Now, generally speaking, I don't think using aqua painter on ordinary Whisper White is a great idea, but occasionally it does work, and this is one of those occasions. So I've got my aqua painter. I'm going to add some water to the lid of my Coastal Cabana, which I've squeezed just to get ink into it. And all I'm going to do is add some Coastal Cabana across this piece of card, just to give a kind of a wash. And because I'm just doing it really quickly, it will be fine. And it's as simple as that. And then I've just got a cloth here that I can clean my aqua painter off with, because I will be needing that again later. And then because our ink pads store the ink, the actual pad, upside down, this water won't get into the ink pad. It will just dry at the bottom, so no worries there. But as I say, this needs to dry, so I thought I'd get that done first. And remove my scrap paper. So I've got a small piece of paper here just so that I can show you how I've done one of the bits of the stamping. Oh, for crying out loud, my brain has gone. So I'm just using my embossing buddy and some Versamark ink on the Whisper White, stamp and remove. Grab my gold embossing powder and just dabble my image in there, and just give it another dabble. I do like giving these things two goes just in case. Ooh, and then I can get embossing powder everywhere. So let's get rid of that. I will need that again, but not just yet. So let's pop that to one side for the moment and get my second stamp ready. I've got a scrap of Bermuda Bay card, and again I'm just going to use my embossing buddy and then the Here's to You stamp, and stamp that down and up. I should have trimmed that off first, but hey. And then again, grab my gold embossing powder and dabble that twice in the gold embossing powder. and then I can heat emboss everything. So let's grab that. So I hope you are all now ready for Christmas. At the point where I'm filming this, am not. I've got lots of filming I still need to do before Christmas. I have presents to buy, I've got to wrap them. I've just about done my cards, but only just about. Right, life wouldn't be the same without my trusty cheese board, so here we go. Always heat your heat gun before you use it on your embossing powder. It makes it melt much better, and it's less likely to curl your paper. And there we go. So it's as simple as that. Then I just need to grab my classic label punch. Classic label. Everyday label. Classic, I think. Good grief. My brain is going. And that fits really nicely. There we go. So that's that punched out. Don't need those stamps. Now this, obviously I need to colour because these are all coloured. So it's going to be that way up. So again, I'm just taking my aqua painter and adding just a wash of water onto the embossed area, and then pick up some ink and just add it in. And I want it to be darker at the top and then less dark at the bottom. So I'm going to bring in my cloth and get rid of some of that ink, and then I can pick up some watered down ink and just finish giving that a wash. Now, because it's heat embossed, I would recommend leaving that to dry naturally, because otherwise you could melt the embossing powder again, and it may not like it. So this needs to, as I say, dry, and I need to fussy cut it. Fussy cutting is not difficult, I grant you. It's time consuming and it is easier with practice. But all you need to do, this is the one I've prepared earlier, is move the paper, not your scissors. So all you're doing with your scissors is opening and closing them, and then moving the paper around the scissors. And it's as simple as that. As I say, it's fiddly rather than difficult. Start on easier shapes. Apart from the coral in this stamp set, I would say they're all fairly straightforward shapes. So nothing to be too frightened about. Let me show you the colours that I've used for all of the items as we go along. So that is Gorgeous Grape. Then I've used Bermuda Bay for some of my shells. I've used Mango Melody, not Mango Melody. I'll be using Mango Melody for something else. I've used Melon Mambo for my coral, including one that I've done on vellum. So this one I've embossed on vellum and then just added the ink over the top. And then Mango Melody for the sand dollar and one of the other little shells. Now there are sand dollar dies in the die set, the Under the Sea die set, but I wanted a more solid image because I do need to cover up the vellum to a degree in order to get it to stick down. Because as we know, vellum and adhesive are not really great bedfellows. Okay, so this is nearly dry. I'll just blast it very quickly with my heat gun just to finish the drying off. And if you do it from both sides, you'll end up with a flatter piece of card than if you do it from just one side. And then before I do anything else, I'm going to adhere that to a mat that is Bermuda Bay. So, adhesive. Now, I had an absolute nightmare lining this up with the original one. This is a much wider, I know, strange, but it is, a much wider margin of mat than I usually use, and it kind of foxed me. I'm putting most of the Bermuda Bay at the, Coastal Cabana at the bottom. That's better. But yeah, when I was doing the other one, I had this on and off. I cannot tell you how many times. But fortunately, because I'm using liquid adhesive, there's wiggle room. So it's not such a problem. Right, press that from the back. Now, you could probably, if you were making this at home, I should say when you make this at home, let's be, you're going to want to make it. Pop that under a heavy weight for a little while you're doing the fussy cutting, maybe. Then you've got, time for it to set properly. I've done my fishing net. As I say, that's in vellum. And I'm just going to pop it on at an angle. I'm not actually going to put any glue on it. I'm just going to glue things to it. And because it's got holes, it should just help stick everything back. So let's add, I'm using a reasonable amount of liquid adhesive on this, and then it just pops, kind of, actually comes over here a bit more, kind of there. That probably won't hold it to begin with, but if I add a second one, that will start to help get everything in place. Actually, I want to come slightly further across, and this one I'm going to put slightly further up. And I am going to deliberately have things coming off the edge, she says, having not really. I can add, go on, stick. Stick. Thank you. I'll add this one so this goes off the edge a bit. Want it to be slightly further down and off the edge. And then I can come in with my sand dollar. And I am adding more adhesive than I would normally add, purely because I want it to help stick down the net, the vellum net. So that's that there. Then this shell, that's the word I'm looking for. There was a definite pause there, wasn't there? That comes in and we pop that there, just overlapping the sand dollar a bit. And then everything else I want to put on dimensionals. So I had some ordinary dimensionals, there they are, and some of the gold glitter dots from the Christmas Rose, Christmas Time is Here suite. So one large dimensional for that. Then a strip of edge for my sentiment. And then you can either cut down some large dimensionals, or because I have them, I can use small dimensionals. I love that we have these as well. And of course, if you get them in the black, you get both large and the small in the same pack, which is fantastic. And then just pop that just there. And then this one can go just there, and whoops, the Mango Melody one can go just there, and this, where are we, 14 minutes, good grief. Think what it would have been like if I'd have fussy cut everything as we were doing it. So this I'm going to have coming slightly off the edge. In fact, I may have it down a bit further to help hold down the bottom of that net. Right, you may be wondering what that's for, and it is for the inside of my card. Did you know I had a liner for my card? Sure, I got one out. Never mind. Let's grab another one. So, liner for my card, as in goes in there. So this I'm just going to add with some more liquid adhesive. Just pick that up and adhere that down in the bottom right hand corner. Now you could do this straight onto the liner. My hesitation would be if you have any card buckling, you've got a buckled card as opposed to just a small little element to stick on. And we don't really want a buckled card. It's not a good look. So let's just pop that in there. And this then goes on here. Like that. Just want to do that with the bone folder, press from the back, and then all we need to do now is add some of these lovely gold glitter dots. They are just so pretty, and for something like this where you want that kind of watery feel, I think they're ideal. So I do sometimes find they don't really want to come off the sheet unless you get underneath. So I'm going to put one in the middle of my sand dollar and one that I'm going to have nestling in under the coral. I know coral isn't really that pink, it's more of a calypso coral colour. There's a surprise. Calypso coral is coral colour, but I wanted to go brighter. And there we are, 5 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we've got an odd number, so I'm happy, otherwise I get all, it can't be doing with even numbers. Anyway, there you are, complete with little embellishment inside. I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of summer on our wintry days. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Any questions or comments, please leave those in the description bar below. And there's links to my website, what I've used, etc. also linked below as well. Thank you very much indeed for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow maybe, or sometime soon. Thanks a lot. Bye!